let's talk about Saw 5.
Hello, Agent Strahm. If you're hearing this, then you finally found what you've been looking for.
Now, Saw 5 was directed by David Hackle and was released on October 24th, 2008. It was his first directorial role, and he had previously worked on some of the other Saw movies, but this was his first time stepping into the director's chair. Now, in order to talk about Saw, I want to just touch on my history with the Saw movies. I never saw any Saw movies until about probably a year ago. I used to always watch the trailers as a kid and be like, damn, that shit look crazy, but my mom would never let me see it or anything. So I was just kind of watching from the outside, and sometimes I'd look up some Saw traps on YouTube and be like, oh shit, that shit's crazy. And I actually did remember catching, I think it might have been Saw 6 or something on TV one time, and just seeing a crazy kill and then being just like, damn, what the fuck, I need to get in on this. This is my first watch of Saw 5. I wanted to go through this series as it's a big series and I've always heard about it, and then after finally watching the first movie, I was like, damn, gotta watch the rest because the first movie's hella good, but that's another story. But anyway, let's talk about this movie. And if we're going to talk about this movie, we're going to start with the story, which is kind of iffy. It's basically a continuation of Saw 4, and it's basically a cop versus cop movie where you have two detectives, one who's evil and working as basically the new Jigsaw, and another who's trying to take him down. And you're supposed to care about that and basically follow them, but the movie does not make you care about them at all. And all you really care about is the damn traps. And every time it goes to the cops, you're like, I don't give a shit about this. You want to see some nigga getting their hand chopped off or something. I don't know. That's how I felt, at least. Now, another thing with the story was that it was full of freaking flashbacks, man. It felt like half the movie was dang flashbacks. It felt like they didn't have a budget for some of the traps, and they're like, all right, well, we'll just use some traps from the last movies. Damn, you can't do us like that. I mean, by this time it's the fifth movie, so I guess they're kind of like, all right, whatever. Now let's talk about the traps. Best trap in the movie has to be the pendulum trap. I mean, come on. It's too cool, too vicious, too mean. It's just fun. I like it. Dude gets a pendulum to the damn fucking stomach. I don't know. It was sick. It's cool as shit. Second favorite trap has to be the collars, man. I don't know how it worked. Might have been some cap, but fuck it, it's Saw. It was fun. The people running with the collars, and they gotta try to get the key for the collar, and if they don't get it in time, you just zip back and your head chopped off. Crazy. And then my third favorite trap would be the saw hand trap, where they had to put their hands basically into the saw to get the jar filled up with enough blood to open the door. Bruh. That shit wild. I love when the dude pulls it out, and then the camera purposely lingers on this shit cut in half because they know that's all you want to see. Come on. At this point, they're kind of finding bro, they just want to see some people get chopped up. Come on. But you would think that would actually mean that they would, kind of less focus on the story, but not. They got some crazy cop shit cutting away and stuff. Now, one thing I didn't like about this movie was the changing of the earlier movies. Now, in this movie, you basically find out that the one evil cop, who's the new Jigsaw, was actually around the whole time, and he was part of even the original movies, and it's sure, but no. I don't rock with that. Changing earlier movies and later sequels just feels kind of disrespectful to me personally, because it's dude, how you gonna change the stuff that made the franchise what it is, and the directors and story writers who made it what it is? So it's just dude, I don't know. Shit crazy to me. Now, at this point, we're at Saw 5, and it's you're starting to think, okay, did they lose their way? They might have lost their way, bro. What were they really trying to do with this movie? I don't know. I will say I do think it's better than the prior movie. Saw 4 was very forgettable. I actually had to look up details on Saw 4 just so I could try to remember what happened, because it was so forgettable. Now, the ending of this movie, it ends with the good cop being crushed by the bad cop, where all he had to do is get into the icebox and trust the bad cop and he would have been saved, but instead he pushes the bad cop in, and the icebox was actually the safe place, and the good cop ends up getting crushed. Did I like that? No. Did it feel earned? No, you just don't really care about the cops the whole time in the movie. So when it's like this grand, big, crazy ending, and like they're playing the Saw theme, and like it just didn't work for me. I don't know, like it wasn't some grand ending to me. It was just kind of like whatever. It was cool to see the dude get crushed, I'll tell you that much, but that's about it. That's all I got from that. Now we move on to the random facts section. First of all, the movie was 92 minutes long. I think that was a good length for the movie. I like 90-minute movies, although anything under 90 minutes is just a little, I don't think that's enough, honestly. But 92 minutes for a Saw movie, that sounds good to me, especially Saw 5. For the budget, it was $10.8 million, which was $800 million more than Saw 4. Do I think this showed? I honestly do. I actually thought that the camera work and just like the overall way the movie looked was a lot better than the prior Saw. Probably Saw 3 and 4, it was a lot better than those. Now for box office, it was $113.9 million, which was $25 million less than Saw 4. Like I said earlier, I can't even remember Saw 4 that much, so I do think this movie deserved more at the box office than Saw 4 at least. But at this time, obviously, audiences are getting a little tired considering how they were dropping these movies every single year. Now, Saw 5 is sitting at 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. Do I think it deserves a 13%? No. It's not a bad movie necessarily, but it's not that. It's better than the last movie for sure. But is it better than the first two? No. Is it better than 3? Sure. Maybe, but I don't. 13%, I think it deserves at least a 40% minimum. Now, this movie came out 1 year after Saw 4, as I mentioned before, and this is right in the heat where they're dropping them every year. I cannot believe that they were doing that shit every year. They were literally treating it like some slasher movie 80s shit, dropping them year to year like Friday the 13th. That is wild. Obviously, that is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. But I do feel like that kind of adds to the franchise in a way, as is like, I didn't get to experience it, but audiences got to be like, just like the old days with slasher movies and like crazy horror franchises, they got to go every year and see a new entry in the franchise, and it was just awesome. Now, I watched this movie on the Blu Ray I own. I own the Saw 8 film collection, which is fucking incomplete, of course, but I thought that the actual transfer of the movie looked great. I'm not a big fan of some of the previous movies. I don't think the last movies looked that good on Blu-ray, but I thought this movie actually looked surprisingly good, even on my crappy 1080p television that I was currently using for this before I go home. Would I recommend the Blu-ray? Yeah, I would. Definitely pick up the 8 film collection. You can get that thing for cheap as hell. So many movies, so much fun. Definitely pick that shit up. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.